Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Random Talks. And today I have with me Leela. Right.
Hello.
So, to start off with, I wanted to talk to you about the feeling of home. Right. I remember I had a conversation with you. So, your dad's from Germany and your mom's from America.
hmm
Right. And you were saying that through your childhood, you had this experience of like when you were in Germany, you were like that American girl, and when you were in America, you were like that German girl. Right.
Yeah.
So, what does it mean for you, like the feeling of home? And then, how did that impact your childhood and through your journey?
How did the feeling of home impact my childhood and the rest of my journey?
Yes.
Mm, So, in my childhood, I would say I lived with my mother in Berlin in an
Mm-hmm.
apartment. And looking back to that time, it didn't really feel so much like home.
Mm-hmm.
That for me, home is like a feeling, and that feeling of home was missing there.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to go to the United States once a year to visit my grandmother. And there I remember like really loving this place and really always being so happy to go back there because this was kind of like this home feeling. Back then, of course, I didn't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
but nowadays I can reflect. So when I was around 19, 20,
Mm-hmm.
and I had finished my high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was staying in Berlin living with my mother, and I had like a really profound realization that like this place has never felt like home for me, and it still doesn't feel like home. So even this whole country of Germany didn't feel like home for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what in the end moved me to go out into the world
Mm-hmm.
with this dream in my heart that maybe somewhere in this huge earth I will find some place that will feel like home. And it
And I
happened.
would say now you feel like home in this beautiful place.
hmm Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, how did that happen? So, at what age did you leave Germany with the idea of finding home?
That was like basically I finished high school and left Germany. That was basically the first thing that I did.
Like you were 19, 17,
I was 18
18. Okay.
at that time, yeah,
All right.
18
Roughly.
years.
Mm.
But right after high school, I didn't have this thing yet. Just wanted to experience and travel. And then through
Mm.
all my experiences in traveling, coming back to Berlin after like a year, it was like that was very clear for me after having met so many spiritual people and
Mm.
people living more from their heart than from their mind.
Mm.
Then coming back into this old atmosphere of
Mm.
Berlin really like
Okay.
really
So,
let
what
me in.
was this period in between? How did that happen?
Which period in between?
Like where you said you traveled and you met all these spiritual people. Where did that happen?
That happened right after high school when I traveled to Spain and Portugal and
Okay.
Canary Islands with my good friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So that sort of like opened up new perspectives.
Yeah, because I was instantly thrown into like the most kind of hippie space that maybe exists in the whole world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of people living in caves, staying naked, just living in nature, talking about, I don't know, fruitarianism and just living off of air. So that
Mm.
really opened my mind so much at that
Mm.
young age, and I was obviously also very receptive to it at that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So where was this? Was in Spain, you said, and you traveled around.
Like that was mostly on the Canary Islands. They're like small islands that belong to Spain, but they're like close to Morocco, next to
Okay.
Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of like European people come there to
Mm.
live in the winter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So and then you did a year of that. Then you came back, and then you had like this very strong realization.
Yeah. Because I had really gone through a lot of shifts in that time,
Mm.
realizing that I'm too attached to my ego that I take too much of my self-worth from my outside looks. And in that travel I shaved my head and went really radical and felt like now I'm just gonna love myself and no more ego. But then coming back to Berlin, I was all of a sudden back in my old surroundings with my old friends who maybe didn't really understand all of that which I had learned.
Right.
And yeah, I felt quite alone and lost and not knowing where I really belong in this world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so you were like probably 19 or something, and then you left from there with this idea that, okay, I'm going to find home.
Yeah.
Did you straight away come to India, or did you go to some other places?
No, I first went to Myanmar.
Okay.
And then I went to Nepal. And then I went to India.
All right.
Yeah. So, like, I always had some kind of connection with Nepal and with India. When I was 9 years old, this Nepalese woman came into my class in school and she had like this Nepal day with us. And I'm sure like none of the other kids remember this, but I remember it so clearly. I remember like the pictures she showed us of the Himalayan mountains, and she cooked chai, and I remember the smell, and it just felt like, wow, I have to go there as a child already. And then I also, in a library book, found this 10 rupees note, which was very special for me back then because it looked so exotic and so different, and I always held on to that note until I went to India. So yeah, I had like these little signs from the universe that were already like coming into my life and saying hello. Yeah.
Nice. And then so you came into India, and then how did you like end up here in Goa?
Like through my travel, I always fluctuated between really wanting to be alone, like really wanting to be completely alone, going like into complete nature, not wanting to meet anyone, and then going back to kind of like a more social place, like in Nepal is Pokhara or here Arambol. So I was always like fluctuating between these two, and then one would become too much for me, and then I would go back to ashram or back outside of ashram. But never, no place felt like really like this is it, you know. There was always some reason to keep going.
Right.
So after about like 1.5 years of traveling, I had this idea while I was in Sri Lanka that I want to go to Goa. And I arrived in this hostel called No Name Hostel, which is here close by. And that for me was somehow like a perfect balance between everything. Because somehow the people that I met in Goa were different from the people that I met all around India and all around Nepal. There's like some kind of realness and authenticity, and I really connected with so many beautiful souls in that time, and that's how I also met my husband, Pulkit. And yeah, from there we kind of went on our own journey together, and that's how I ended up here.
Wow, awesome. And now you have a beautiful home.
Yeah.
Nice. So now going back to your childhood, we were just having a conversation through the day, you know, it's like how like there were these perceptions of things which you found desirable, right? Like on the topic of coolness, for example, right?
Yeah.
Would you like to talk a little bit about that? Like how your mind shifted with respect to, like, because as we're children and there's society is telling us all kinds of things, and then we live from those ideas in a sense until we start to realize how these ideas are probably quite faulty, and then we see something for ourselves, you know, and then make our own decisions. Yeah.
Well, as a child I was quite shy and quite scared. And I used to always really look up to all the people around me that were like interactive and charismatic and talking to other people. And I was always quiet, in school and everywhere, and never really participated in the social life at all. And it was just kind of watching everything. But in my head, it was like, man, I really want to be a part of this. And I feel so lonely because I'm like not part of all these social things. So slowly, as I became a little older, like 13, 14, I started making some friends that I usually really looked up to because they were like more confident than me. And slowly I also became more open and kind of went more and more into those circles, because I had like this ideal in my head that if I become one of those charismatic, popular people, then I will have made it. Then I will have achieved happiness. That will be it. So I was like trying really hard to become someone in that way. And in a way I did. I made lots of friends, and I started when I was 16, like going to a lot of nightclubs, having all these older friends, taking drugs, doing all these things. But I realized quite fast that something in all of that feels very wrong for me. Because I used to be there with my friends, and they would take maybe some substances. And when the substance kind of subdued its effect, they would want to take more, you know? They had this high, then it went down, and then it's like, we want more.
Right.
And I was always sitting there, and I didn't want to take more. And just looking at that seemed very sick to me, into my eyes.
Right.
Seeing this kind of behavior, and then on top of that, it was not just my friends, but it was like all kinds of older people going to the age of 60 who were all doing this, and who all kind of, I can hear them talk about this thing like Berlin is so cool, and oh yeah, we feel so good in this city, and this is life. And I also, before that, had always thought like this is life, and once you're part of all of this, you will have made it. But then I was like, wait a minute. Everyone is just lying to themselves.
Right.
And I remember writing this diary entry once that I feel like everyone is just hungry for serotonin. Like everyone is just constantly chasing to activate these happiness chemicals inside of them, and always finding it on the external side. And I like mentally went more and more into all of this, and it started to really make me like question everything around me and all the people. And yeah, that's why I, in the end, felt very distant from that whole city, because I kind of saw that in everyone I interacted with, even my own parents, you know. So I, from myself, started like going to yoga classes and researching into Buddhism and such things, because I heard about that they have some kind of idea about how to achieve happiness, long-lasting happiness. And yeah, I also wanted to know how that is possible.
Oh, that's quite some interesting, profound realizations at a fairly young age, I would say.
Yeah, that city makes you grow up very fast.
Yet somehow the 60-year-old people seem to not figure it out. So, how would you say life is in Berlin from your point of view?
Well, there's many different people there living many different lives, but like my friend circle, very wild, very free, somewhere also very philosophical, and like questioning the way this world is running, but somewhere just the spiritual aspect is completely missing. Everyone there is atheist. So like if you're that kind of person who is able to reflect that something in our world is going wrong, but you also don't have the spiritual side to balance and to give hope and to give some deeper meaning to everything, it obviously leaves you in a very kind of hopeless and confused space. So I think lots of people like live for the weekend, live for the party. You only live once kind of lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. As you were about to say that, the word YOLO like just flashed in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But you had a kind of similar. We talked about this before. You had a kind of similar conclusion, but for you it was not about being popular, but it was about something else, no? In
yeah.
your
So
case.
for me, it was more like standard Indian, uh, like middle class progression in a sense. So like when you're in school, obviously you're expected to study hard, get really good marks, and the point of getting good marks is so that you can go to like a good college, and then you get good marks over there also, and then you get a good job, and then you can like progress through your career, and then you would have finally made it in life, so to say. And of course, like actually, so for me, I never really resonated with all of that from the very beginning, and I had a lot of curiosity, like from the very beginning. It's like, and I had like deeper questions which were far more important to me in life. But still, this was something that was very strong, and like culturally, and from family and all that, there is like this whole push happening in this direction. So of course that was progressing, and then so I went so after, like, so when I was in school, obviously, in terms of my own self-worth, like I had no reason to like have too much confidence in myself as well, because I was always a very rational person, and I so in a sense that uh, like I would probably rank maybe 24th 25th in my class,
Yeah.
and in a class that has like 40 students or something, and in my mind, even as a kid, like I would figure out that okay, there's like 40 students in my class and I'm in the middle of that, but there are so many sections in my own class, like in India, because there's so many kids, it's like there's so many humans over here. So there's like section A, B, C, D, and I'm just in one section and one kid, it's like, and then there's so many schools in the country as well,
Yeah.
So as a kid, like I had like no reason to believe that I have any exceptional qualities or anything like that, so no reason to have like too much confidence or faith in from that point of view. But then as I went to college, so I went to a pretty decent college. It's called NIT Warangal. So it was like a decent place. And then after that, for MBA, I went to a place called MDI Gurgaon, which was supposed to be like ranked 6th or something in the country when I was studying there. And basically, like everyone in my college, like in my B school, like they had like there's this exam called CAT, which is Common Aptitude Test, and so pretty much everyone in my class had at least like 99 percentile in CAT. So these were like really so-called smart people, right? And obviously, like everyone had very good ability to like solve certain kinds of questions.
Yeah.
Like if you say that A, B, C are running around the track with velocity v by 2 and v by 3, it's like, and then like you will say a bunch of things, and then A, B, C, D, and then like quickly you solve it, and then you come like, and all the people had like really good abilities of doing that.
Yeah.
But then what I noticed is that nobody seems to be thinking about some very simple fundamental questions in life, that why the fuck am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of this? Do I enjoy it? Like, does this give me satisfaction? And so that also made me question many things, because like in my first job, not my first, but like after my MBA, like I started working with Pepsi, right? And in my management trainee program, basically all the other management trainees were from the so-called elite or the best institutions in the country, like IIM Ahmedabad and Bangalore and whatever, right?
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
In that moment? Like, from what space were you doing all of that? If you say you were like already questioning in yourself that why am I doing all of this? You were kind of just like figuring out your path and.
So see, because the thing is, like, obviously when you're in school, one of the things that I wanted to do was to attain freedom for myself. And so one of the aspects of that is like you need to have money in this world to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like if I was in a place where I didn't need money, I wouldn't do those things. But I need money to live my life, eat and travel and do whatever, right? And yeah, so in that sense I had to do some of these things, right, before I could like figure out how to organize my life in a very different way. But then through that journey, like what I noticed over there is that yeah, people have apparently not thought about some of the very simple and fundamental questions of life. And then my next job was with this company called Focus Adventure, which was doing like corporate training workshops. And through that, like, you know, I got to like interact with like a whole spectrum of corporates. Because like say with some people you have to do this job hopping thing, you know, and you quit one job, go to another one, go to another one. But thankfully for me the process was much faster, because like it's like one program to the next one and next one, and then each one I'm interacting deeply with one company, like, because I'm doing workshops for them, right? So it's like a 3-day workshop, like it would be happening in say like Goa or Jaipur, Udaipur, like some beautiful place, some nice resort, where the company gets all their employees and then they make them do these, you know, employee engagement activities, or you know, it's like whatever, no, it's like it's a holiday. Now what I notice is the sad reality is that any company, if you take your employees on a holiday, what the employees are mostly going to do is they're just going to come to the bar, get drunk, and then bitch about the company in their own small groups that they are used to within the company, and the HR wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
So then they would engage somebody like us, so that it's more decent, you know. It's like, and people interact with each other and they have fun. And what I noticed is that like in the programs that we would organize, like people would have an amazing time, right? And they would like towards the end of 3 days they would come and they would tell me that, man, this is so amazing, like we love you guys and all that. And I used to think that, man, this was nothing, no, it's like it's so lame this is. And
So what were you organizing? Just like food and drinks and...
No. So the way this would work is like, suppose in a company, like, you know, you have different functions. Like, so first you would talk to the HR, and they would tell us like what kind of things they want us to explore within that workshop. Like say they would say that, you know, the coordination between like the finance department and then, you know, the procurement team and then the marketing team is not happening very well. Because of that, these problems are arising. And then we would discuss with them, and then we would come up with like a program or an activity, you know. So to give you an example, like there's one called Blind Intent, where like we split people into teams, and each team has like 2 parts, and there would be like a rope, and on the other side, like half the team would go with blindfolds on, and they have to pitch a tent, and the tent is inside a bag and everything, and the other half is on this side of the rope, and they have to give instructions. Right, but the people who are going to pitch the tent, they cannot speak, and they're blindfolded as well. So now what happens is that the people who are giving the instructions, like they will sometimes not have enough empathy with that person, not understand his situation, and they'd be like you know, udhar hi, you know, utha, like something like that, no? But that person is blindfolded, he's not able to see, and he's getting frustrated, but he's not able to communicate back to this person that your instructions are like useless, I'm not understanding what you're saying, right? And then we'll also create that pressure and stress, because there's like competition between the teams and like things like that, no? It's like, and through that they experience a bunch of things, and after you come back from that game, then we have some conversations. And like this we design like many activities, and we make them have fun as well, and then some meaningful conversations through those activities is how this would be. But yeah, so but what I realized and what I noticed through this is that because now, rather than myself going through the progression of that corporate journey, I saw that I'm organizing workshops for like just different companies, right? Like BCG, McKinsey, Deloitte, like, you know, PNG, HUL, like just all over the place, right? And we're doing these workshops also all over the spectrum. Like doing it for like middle management, senior management, like sometimes even like the leadership teams, right? The CEO, the you know, CFOs.
You have made them blindfold each other.
Yeah, we do all kinds of, because and that's interesting, no? Because there are ways in which they open up and they let you do all kinds of things, right? You just have to make them have fun, and then there are certain ways of doing these things, of course. But But what I realized is the hollowness of their life,
Hmm.
in a sense, because now here are people that I'm interacting with who have attained the dream that you are being told of sorts.
Yeah.
Like, because when you were in school as like a 10-year-old kid or whatever, no, it's like you are shown these people as the high performers, high achievers of life who have made it.
Yeah.
And now I'm meeting these people on a very regular basis who have so-called made it. Like, you have lots of money, you're going to resorts, and you can, like, the company will pay for you anything. They'll pay 20,000 rupees per day, 30,000 rupees per day for just your accommodation in some resort in Jaipur, Udaipur. Like, you can, and different companies have different abilities, of course. But then I was interacting all over the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And then I could see how this whole thing is so hollow and lifeless, and how just this shadow of some fun is also like a high point in their life. And
Yeah.
so
That's
that was
basically kind of the same thing that I realized.
right. And so that was something that to me then was like, man, I need something better in life, something more
When you quit your
authentic.
job.
Yeah, so I decided, like, I have to explore life, and I would like to live truly. And more than living, I've also sort of had this desire to give something of value, something of meaning, and when I felt like what I'm doing is like purposeless, meaningless, it's just some fake thing that I'm doing in order to make some money. Like, I couldn't like just keep doing that. Like, and so I have this need that I need to know that what I'm doing actually is meaningful and authentic to me. Right. So that's how my journey happened in a transition.
And now here we are.
Yeah, and now here we are. Right. So and that way is now one of the things that I am really enthusiastic about is actually Lazy Man's University. Out of different projects that I've thought of, this is the one which right now is most exciting and
Your
interesting
YouTube
to me.
channel.
It's
Or
not
does it
just my
expand more?
it's not just my YouTube channel. In fact, that's like a very small part of it. Like, so first of all, I called it Lazy Man's University because, like, quite a bit of my life I was always like fighting with this thing of being lazy, because it's supposed to be a bad thing to be lazy in life, right? And so in that sense, like, it's a negative attribute that I have personally. I'm a lazy person, right? And then at some point I decided that fuck it, I'm just going to embrace it. It's like, that's who I am. It's fucking awesome, and I'm just going to like be true to that, right? And in that sense, like, the point of starting this was because I sort of freed myself in life. And what happened is that as I started to do what I really want to do, also I really enjoy thinking about things. I like to explore topics and concepts in depth, in detail. Like, I have that bandwidth in my mind, and I have the ability to entertain thoughts from like multiple dimensions, and how they connect and how they integrate, and which sometimes I think maybe sometimes people who are too much into like TikTok and things like that might not have those capacities. But for me, I really enjoy like all of those things. So in that sense, what I started to do is, like, obviously as I started to realize all these things about the world, I started to think about every aspect of life and not just believe whatever society is telling me. Because at some point it became very clear to me that society is lying to me. And once I figured out that society has been lying to me, now the trust is broken. And I don't know, like, how much of it is lie, which part is true, and I cannot take anything on face value anymore. So I need to like think about everything for myself. And as I started to do that, I realized that everything is a lie. Right? We live in an inverted society. Everything is opposite to as it should be. Right? And so then I embarked on this journey of, I was like, okay, fuck it. Whatever others are doing, I don't care. At least for myself, I will think about things, and I will try to organize my life to the best of my own capacities. And as I started to do that, because I was thinking about like different aspects of life, my own life started to become like more and more awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and it's also very chill and relaxed
Yeah.
in a sense that I'm able to get like a very very high quality of life, but at the same time I'm not like struggling or stressing out about anything in life. And so yeah, the main idea behind Lazy Man's University is to just share that, in a sense, like strategies to get the best results in life for the least amount of effort.
Yeah.
Right. And so in that sense, like right now the YouTube channel is happening, but I also like, to me Lazy Man's University is also like a physical university. So first of all, like I thought the university campus is where I'm staying in Kodaikanal right now, Club India. So that's like a 40-acre property. It's a very beautiful place, and like in my head it's the most beautiful campus in the world.
Mm.
Right. And exploring this place, I feel New Earth is also like Lazy Man's University Goa campus, right? And because, so when I think of like my own college, I had a really good time in college, and I was mostly into gaming and stuff like that. But what I realized is college is also about freedom,
Mm.
because for the first time you're leaving home, and then like everything's taken care of, your accommodation's taken care of, your food is taken care of, and you can just like interact with your friends who are in a similar headspace, right?
Yeah.
And if you're there for 4 years, you don't need to be thinking about job immediately. You
Yeah.
can think about it a bit later. So you have that mental bandwidth, that freedom of sorts. But then it also comes with some other bullshit, like you have to study some soil mechanics or fluid dynamics and some things you need to be doing. But then when I realized that, I thought that, okay, as Lazy Man's University, if it's can we provide that space, that mental space to people to also sort of blossom, right? And yeah, so that is something that I have in mind. So yeah, definitely I have things in my mind that we could do here as well. And so yeah, definitely in my mind Lazy Man's University already has the best university campuses that I can think of. In the mountains we have a really beautiful kick-ass space, and in the beach over here we have a really beautiful kick-ass space. And at this moment I've thought of there are two programs. One is program that happens in person, like a residential program. So as of now, it's like a 7-day program. It's called Here and Now Week, where you can come to the university, and for 7 days you basically let go of the illusion of control, because most people are always trying to like figure out their life, pushing, pulling, trying to organize things, make things happen, right? And all of this struggle only deteriorates the quality of your life. Now, probably for some people, this might be a very far out concept, but for me, I'm sure you also have realized this, that over the years, as we let go, and the universe starts to take care of more and more aspects of your life. And so for me, that has been a truly magical journey,
Yeah.
where like the universe is organizing all kinds of things. And coming back to the Lazy Man's core philosophy of like best results for least effort, if you can get the universe to help you, that's a very smart thing to do, right? Because that's going to like up level your life so much without really having to put in that much effort.
So that's basically kind of the things that you would like to teach people and the projects that you would organize with Lazy Man's University.
Yeah, so there are many things. So one of them for sure is to kind of help people understand how to collaborate more with the universe, so that you can get better results for lesser effort. That's one. And the other one, which is a online course that we have, it's called Optimizing Neural Networks, which is again going back with the same theme. Like if you want to like get better results in life, it makes so much more sense to have like a better brain, because the brain that you have is a tool, and if you figure out how to use this tool more efficiently, everything in life is easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the online one. So as of now, there's only like two courses. There's one residential, which is for 1 week, and then the optimizing neural networks is a longer sort of a course. And yeah, there are few other ideas that I have in my head, but also the idea with Lazy Man's University is that I want to uh, bring together like teachers, mentors, facilitators, guides
Mm-hmm.
and students and spaces. And yeah, so I have all these ideas in my head, but I'm also a lazy person, so I like to chill in life. And like I'm not in a rush for anything. I'm not
Yeah.
in a hurry. So I have these visions, and life is progressing, and I'm happy to experience them, however, whenever the universe sees them as being appropriate.
Hmm. That's very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thought process of my journey at the moment.
Yeah.
And so then coming to the Lazy Man's University Goa campus. So, what's your vision with New Earth, and how do you see things going forward?
Hmm. I would say for me it's more about the way that I invest my energy every day.
Mm,
I personally don't think so much about like the future of this place or what we can put into it, what projects we will do. Because for me, it's more of like what energy and from where am I giving energy to this place every day
mm,
and watching how that affects my immediate reality. So
mm,
it's for me kind of like this ground of experiment
mm-hmm,
and I can see like very, very deep and profound karma coming back.
mm,
Meaning, like, if I'm having a bad day, in another place I would maybe like not feel it so much, or it would kind of pass by me very fast. But here, if I kind of do something that's maybe coming from my mind or from my ego or from some weird desire
mm,
that's not coming from a very clear space, then I can like instantly feel it. So I feel like that kind of energy got created a little bit through our intention, a little bit. This place is already very charged,
mm,
but yeah, for me it's more like an experimental playground for people kind of to come in and to feel that place.
mm. Wow,
If you
that's,
understand what I mean, I don't
yeah,
know if
I,
I can
I,
put it into words so good.
right. No, no, I get that. I get that. That's quite an amazing thing. So basically, you're more rooted in your own here and now reality,
Yeah,
and it's like it's also like the place teaching you about the consequences of your intentions,
yeah,
in a sense. It's like and with a very rapid feedback loop, there's only one way to go. It's like clarity,
yeah.
because everything else, this place will like immediately like
Yeah, you can
put you
feel
in
it
check.
very strong.
Mm.
If someone is maybe not being authentic or true, or something is bothering that person, but they're not showing it, it can be so felt here. And also
Mm.
in myself, I can feel it so strong.
Mm.
Yeah. So I feel like that kind of also comes through the energy that you invest in the space. If
Right.
you're in your room and you're meditating every day, that place will for sure get at some point very charged with energy.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
But still, it's very exciting for me to hear from you, who like visualizes a lot and thinks a lot about like projects and how to help other people.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm really interested in like these little things like Here and Now Week, how you would like practically put them into action.
Mm-hmm. So that's the best part, because the way I think about certain things is also to make sure that my life is also pretty chill and easy.
Hmm.
Because over the last few years, I got involved in a bunch of things, and I realized like what I don't want to do is like get caught in certain traps. Like if I make too many commitments, and then like different people having too many expectations from me, then my life should not become unpleasant, right? And so yeah, so in that sense, coming to the Here and Now Week, the idea is not for me to really teach them. Like the idea is the universe is your teacher.
Hmm.
I would maybe call myself like assistant professor. right? The university is the universe is the professor,
Ah.
and I am playing the role of assistant, right? And so, I mean, I could maybe drive a car, take you here, take you there, have some conversations and things like that. But the main role of teaching and making you have certain experiences and realizations is the responsibility of the universe, right? And that is like, because I have been in this journey of collaborating with the universe for a while now, and it is really, I see that's like the best way for me to go forward. So even in the university, I feel like collaborating with the universe is a much better way to do this, right? So yeah, but right now, immediately, I plan to start doing the Here and Now week in Kodaikanal, because over there we also have like multiple locations with us. Like I live in this place called Club India Resorts, but then I have some land in a village called Kukal, and my friends have some land in a village called Palambattur, and another friend has land in Mannavanur. So we have like different properties and different places, and each one is like very beautiful in its own way. And so the idea is also that when somebody comes, like from the moment, like for a week, like from the moment they arrive in Kodaikanal, like they would be taken care of, right, for that 1 week.
Yeah.
And then the way that 1 week unfolds would be dependent on the universe. So where you're going to stay, what you're going to eat, how things are going to go, whether we're going to be doing some gardening or whether something else is going to be happening. So it'll be very.
It's not like a planned event with like all the.
No. And that's the idea, for you to let go of the illusion of control.
Yeah.
And because it's also giving people an opportunity to try out something radically different. Because first of all, I don't think many people have thought of this thing. Like they don't really think of the universe from a collaborative point of view, because at a deeper level, what probably happens is that somewhere in their psyche, they are perceiving the universe to be a hostile thing. Because then I need to take care of myself. I need to organize everything. I need to like be more careful and on the top to just make sure everything's happening right. But and even if the people who are able to like intellectually consider the concept that, oh yeah, the universe is a friendly agent, but they're not really able to truly let go and experience certain things.
Yeah, I myself would also say that I'm like that.
Right. So the idea for this is, because now we're just telling you to try out something for a week, which is much easier to do rather than your whole life. Like if I were to tell somebody that, hey bro, just quit your job, let go, like the universe will take care of you, they will be like, man, screw you. It's like, I have such a good job. I've been working like 5 years, and I have, I'm now senior manager or
Yeah, if they're
something.
happy, why would
Right. But then, if I'm saying that, okay, just for see what it feels like to just completely let go of control. You just need to do it for a week. After a week, you have been doing and that you're used to. And so that gives people an opportunity to explore something that they have never really done before.
Yeah.
Right. And also, what I'm sort of hoping through this is that once you do go back to wherever you have come from, you can continue to live life the way you were, but hopefully you've learned at least a few things in that span of 1 week that you can now start to like integrate at least in few parts of your life, at least in different pockets. You might not radically change your whole life because of this, but at least in some pockets you might start to do certain things differently. Yeah, so that's the.
I think New Earth is quite similar to that
Yes.
in a way.
Yes.
And I can't say I fully understand it, because it's also doing that to me myself, but it sounds kind of like a similar concept.
Yes. For sure, which is why I felt this, like with Pulkit, like this natural connection, and like immediately, like I knew that okay, we're on the same journey, just different places, different plot lines, different events and people, but yeah, basically wanting to do the same thing. Like in the last conversation where he was talking about like creating more harmony in the mandala. So I mean, he's doing it in his way and I'm doing it in my way, but ultimately the objectives are the same. Because yeah, basically, like I've had these very clear visions, where like I was able to just zoom out of my body and then I could see all of humanity in a sense, right? And it's a different perspective in a sense that like while I'm rooted in this personality and I'm like deeply rooted in the sense of being Vishnu, there's one way in which I interface with life. But if I'm able to zoom out and if I eliminate the body, right, and let's say we don't have your body, don't have my body, and just two brains, for example, no, it's like, and in this moment in time, let's say there's information going back and forth between these two brains, and in that sense, when I zoom out and I look at it, there's like one planetary brain where these are all like neurons connected to all the other neurons, right? And all these 7 billion neurons are, in some ways interconnected. And when I saw it from that perspective, like it gave me a lot of clarity in life with respect to how I can think about things, how I can live my life, how I can do things. Which is that now, like the easiest, simplest objective that I have in life is that A, do whatever I can to improve the performance efficiency of my own brain or neuron, and do whatever is the best you can do for every neuron that you come in contact with. And that's it, it's like the
So
rest
your
is.
realization was basically that the whole humanity is like one organism, one
Yes.
united organism that is somewhere functioning through the same
Yes.
energies.
Yes, one planetary consciousness in a sense, or it's part of like one larger brain. And while we do have the sense of being this like separate individual, but all of these connect to form like one higher entity. And I'm a part of that, just the way like I can have skin cells which together form my skin, and then of course all my cells form me. But then like I am not separate from my skin cell. Like I could give it a name, like I could call this one V1 and V2, for example, or I could call it like Vijay and like something else, right? But there's also, it's accurate to call it Vishnu and Vishnu and Vishnu.
Yeah.
And in that ways, like of course we can have separate names like Leela and Vishnu and Pulkit, but from another perspective, it would be accurate to also say there's like Gaia and Gaia and Gaia, like the planetary system.
Yeah.
And these are just cells in a larger system. And so, but then when I'm able to see it from that point of view, that these are just cells in a larger system, it kind of just has a very radical shift in what I'm doing, what's my purpose, what's my ways of interfacing with this.
So it basically made you realize that you're not separate from the whole humanity, you're part of it. So did you like start behaving differently with other humans, more openly or more?
Yeah, I would say a lot more openly, became a lot more chill with things in life, like certain fears much less, right? Because also, and then perspectives on certain other things also kind of just changed, because in a sense I am giving my, like I can see how my energy, whatever I'm putting out, has this way of like permeating through the whole, and things like reverberate, right? And seeing that, also kind of gave me more perspective on how to be more mindful of my actions, be more efficient with my actions, and be more holistic, like, yeah. Rather than just like, okay, I'm just going to like maximize my scene, but fuck you, I don't really care. No, like how can it be that, like, and I realize that as the whole gets enriched, I also get enriched.
Exactly, that's the point.
Right. And what I also realized in this journey is that as I become a tool for the universe, I'm like, I submit, it's like, do whatever you want with me, just do, because I'm not Vishnu, just consciousness. And this experience can go, but then experience itself will remain. And so as I do that, and the universe is like using me to do certain things, it just naturally flows more resources through me, more energy through me, and then gets the right people and organizes the right things because it's doing it for itself as well.
Can I ask you a question at that point?
Yeah, sure.
How much of your time that you're spending here are you aware, like consciously aware of that fact that you are not Vishnu, you are just a consciousness experiencing here? Is that something that's always present in the background, or you come back to remember that sometimes?
It's like it's a mix, in a sense that there is like this, I would say, in some capacity, a very large shift that even when I'm Vishnu, like because I'm experiencing my life as Vishnu, like I don't feel like me and Leela are one
Yeah.
from an experience point of view.
Yeah.
Of course, there are like from a Advaitic point of view, all of it is one and all those things. But the way I practically experience my life is like, okay, I'm Vishnu, this person within my skin, and everything outside me is the universe.
Yeah.
And in that sense, Leela is the universe, this bed is the universe, Hermit is the universe, Pulkit is the universe, and every other person is the universe, right? And I am interacting with the universe, right? And that's how I am experiencing things. But even when I'm deeply rooted in the sense of Vishnu, like I can still see that, oh yeah, but then I'm also like connected with the universe and I'm interacting very deeply. Like, and I can see now that the universe is playing a very active role in my life. Like the situation that it brings in, the people it brings in, the kind of things it's doing. And so in that sense, like the quality of the interactions has gone up like a lot. Right. So yeah, I hope that answers the question in some way.
Yeah, so you're basically saying that you know that you are not Vishnu, but your experience is still that you are Vishnu.
As Vishnu. Yes. Because I've had these many experiences actually of like disconnecting from Vishnu. Like where I was just pure consciousness.
Yeah.
Right. But then I'm not in that state at this moment. For example, as I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
I'm talking to you as Vishnu. But having had those experiences, I know that I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like
somewhere
there.
in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah, I guess for me it's kind of the same. I've read a lot about consciousness and you are not your body, and I've had certain experiences that detached me from this personality. But most of my day I'm still living as Leela, with Leela's thoughts and Leela's emotions and Leela's triggers and Leela's desires.
Right.
But in the moment in which things become intense, then I'm able to remember, oh yeah, this is not really you, so
right,
calm down.
Right. So it's a very powerful perspective to have, right?
Yeah.
That it's the degree of that power that has is that even if it is like just a few moments, it's able to cast such a huge influence on the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so profound.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess with that, maybe I think that's so.
There's nothing more to talk about after that.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that kind of is good for today. Yeah. Thank you so much for.
Thank you too, Vishnu.
Yeah. Joining me for this beautiful conversation. And maybe the next time I'm in Goa, we could have some other conversations about some other interesting
we'll see
topics.
What will come up then.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you, everyone, for those people who are still here at this moment in time, for watching all the way through. And see you guys in the next one.
See
Bye-bye.
you.